4:47 a.m. in Kern County, California. The air still smells like night, cool, dry, a faint trace of irrigation water on cracked clay. In the dark, a convoy of machines idles along a dirt road that cuts through 1,200 acres of almond trees. Headlights sweep across rows that seem to go on without end. The trees are heavy. Tight clusters of brown-hulled almonds press against every branch. By the time the sun clears the Sierra Nevada foothills, those trees will be shaking. Literally shaking. And this is the San Joaquin Valley in late August. And for the next 60 days, every grower, every operator, every equipment mechanic, and every processing facility within 100 miles will be locked into one of the largest nut harvests on Earth. California produces over 80% of the world's almonds. All of it, every pound of it, comes out of the ground in a single 2-month window. August to October. No exceptions, no extensions. The trees decide when they're ready, and the weather decides how long you have. Right now, forecasters are tracking a low-pressure system moving toward the coast. Rain in the valley is rare this time of year, but rare is not impossible. The harvest manager for this operation has been awake since 3 a.m. He's checking moisture readings on his phone. He's on his second cup of coffee. He's already called 3 equipment operators to make sure they're fueled and ready. Because in almond country, 60 days sounds like a long time. It isn't. The almond doesn't wait for permission. Sometime in mid-August, the hull, the green outer casing that wraps each nut, begins to split. It pulls away from the shell underneath, curling open like a hand releasing its grip. Growers call it hull split. It's the starting gun. When roughly 95% of the hulls on a tree have opened, that tree is ready to be harvested. Not a week later. Not when it's convenient. Now. Leave it too long, and the hull can reclose around the nut, trapping moisture. That moisture breeds a mold called navel orange worm. It can destroy a crop from the inside out, invisibly, before you've even touched the tree. Timing matters down to the day. In the San Joaquin Valley, farms range from a few hundred acres to operations covering tens of thousands. The largest almond growers in Fresno, Tulare, and Kern counties operate on a military-grade schedule. Each block of trees, usually organized by variety, gets harvested in sequence. First the nonpareils, then the Carmel, then the Butte. Each variety ripens on its own clock. A single operation might run 3 harvests back to back, barely stopping between them. The harvest manager on this property has 42,000 trees under his watch. He's been doing this for 19 years. He can walk a row, look at the hull split, and give you a harvest date within 48 hours. No instrument needed. Some things you learn in a classroom. Some things you learn in 42,000 repetitions. 6:02 a.m. The first machine rolls into the row. A tree shaker looks nothing like what most people imagine. It's a large, self-propelled machine. Diesel engine, articulated cab, rubber-padded clamps extending from a hydraulic arm on the front. The operator guides the clamp around the base of the tree trunk, usually in less than 10 seconds, and then activates the shaker mechanism. What happens next is violent, controlled, and over in about 8 seconds. The machine vibrates at a precise frequency. Not random trembling, a targeted oscillation designed to transfer energy up through the trunk and out to every branch. The almonds don't fall, so much as they launch. A single tree can release anywhere from 15 to 40 pounds of nuts in a single shake. They hit the ground in a sound that's halfway between rainfall and applause. Then the clamp releases. The machine moves forward. The next tree is already in position. On a good day, one shaker can process between 60 and 90 acres. On this property, 3 shakers are running simultaneously, each working a different block, each with its own operator. The operators don't talk much during the work. Hey, the machines are loud, the rows are long. There's a rhythm to it. Clamp, shake, release, move. That settles into something close to automation, but it isn't automatic. Every tree has a different trunk diameter. Some lean slightly. Some have surface roots that change how the vibration travels. The operator feels all of it through the controls. Experience is the difference between a clean shake and a broken limb. By 8:30 a.m., the temperature is already pushing 90 degrees. The almonds that were shaken at first light have been on the ground for nearly 2 hours. Now, this is intentional. The nuts need to dry. Not in bins, not in storage. On the ground itself, under open sky. The drying window is 7 to 10 days. During that time, the moisture content of the nut drops from roughly 20% down to 6 or 7. At 6 to 7%, the nut is shelf stable. It can be processed, sorted, packaged, shipped. But those 7 to 10 days carry real risk. Rain ruins them. A 1/4 inch of rainfall on nuts that have been on the ground for 3 days can cause enough moisture intrusion to trigger mold growth in a matter of hours. The affected nuts won't show it immediately. They'll look fine. They'll test fine at first. But weeks later, in storage, the damage surfaces. This is the equation every almond grower in California is solving in real time throughout the entire harvest season. Shake fast enough to get the nuts down before the crop deteriorates, but don't shake more acreage than you can protect if the weather turns. Right now, there's no rain in the forecast for this county. But 40 miles north, a grower with 800 acres of late-season variety is watching a different radar. And he's on the phone with a custom harvest crew, trying to move up his schedule by 4 days. There's no room in his schedule for 4 days. He's making room anyway. Day 3 after shaking. The nuts are on the ground. The hulls are drying, curling further open. The rows look like a shallow carpet of brown. Almonds and leaf litter and dried hull fragments spread across the bare soil between tree lines. Now comes the sweeper. The mechanical sweeper moves through the row at a slow walking pace, its rotating brushes working the ground like a wide broom. It pushes the scattered almonds into a long, tidy windrow, a continuous line of nuts running down the center of the row, raised just enough off the ground to allow airflow from beneath. The windrow serves 2 purposes. It concentrates the nuts for pickup, and it lifts them so they continue drying evenly. Workers walk behind the sweeper, checking the windrow for quality. They're looking at hull integrity, nut color, moisture signs. They're also clearing debris that the sweeper missed. Clumps of soil, broken branches, stray hull fragments that can cause problems in processing. One worker on this crew has been sweeping almonds in the valley for 11 years. He started at 17, following his uncle from a packing shed job into field operations. He now runs a crew of 8 during harvest season. Between September and October, he'll work this valley. By November, he'll be in Arizona for citrus. The seasons don't stop. He doesn't either. Day 8, moisture at 7.2%, clear skies, wind out of the northwest at 6 miles per hour. The pickup harvester moves into the windrow. This machine is built around a single function. It lifts the windrow off the ground, runs the almonds through an internal separator that removes most of the debris, leaf, stem, hull fragment, and deposits the cleaned nuts into a catching system, either on board or directly into a side-running cart. The cart fills fast, 40, 50, 60 bins. When full, the cart pulls away and an empty one slides in without the harvester stopping. It's a continuous loop, pick up, clean, deposit, running at a pace that seems unhurried until you track how many tons move per hour. On large operations, the harvested nuts go directly from the field into semi-trucks staged at the row ends. The trucks hold 20 or 25 tons. They fill in a matter of hours during peak intake days. Some drivers make 3 or 4 trips to the processing facility in a single shift, back and forth, field to facility, facility to field. Radio chatter on the CB about waits, load delays, whether the intake line is backed up. During peak weeks in Fresno County, the roads leading to almond processing facilities are lined with semi-trucks waiting their turn. The facilities run 24 hours. The intake lines don't close at night. There's no night shift and day shift, just continuous intake. Because stopping intake means stopping the trucks, which means stopping the field crews, which means losing days. Days are not available to lose. The processing facility in Fresno County covers 32 acres. Inside, the almonds move on conveyor systems through a series of separators, size graders, and optical sorters. The optical sorters are fast, cameras and air jets working together to identify and remove damaged nuts at line speeds measured in thousands of nuts per minute. The facility processes around 2 million pounds per day during peak intake. Every pound gets weighed, moisture tested, graded by size and quality, and assigned to a lot. From that point, the almonds move into climate-controlled storage bins or directly into processing lines for roasting, blanching, or raw packaging. Workers here run 12-hour shifts. The work is different from field work, climate-controlled, quieter, less physical, but the pace doesn't let up. Machine downtime at this scale costs tens of thousands of dollars per hour. Mechanics walk the floor continuously. When something stops, it gets fixed now. The facility manager tracks intake volume against storage capacity in real time. If the harvest is moving faster than anticipated, if the crop is heavier than projected, she has to make calls, move product to a secondary facility, adjust the incoming truck schedule, pre-negotiate with a handler to accelerate shipping. The whole system has to breathe together. Field crews, shakers, sweepers, pickup harvesters, trucks, intake lines, storage, shipping. One bottleneck anywhere and the pressure builds up the chain. 51 days in, the earlier varieties have been fully processed. The late missions, the last variety of the season, are coming off their final blocks. The weather held. No meaningful rain in the valley. The harvest manager for this property is running a deficit of 4 hours of sleep per night that he's been carrying for 3 weeks. He doesn't complain about it. He's done this long enough to know that the deficit gets paid back in November, when the fields go quiet and there's nothing to do but catch up. His crew is smaller now than it was in week 1. Some of the custom harvest operators have already moved on to their next contract, a walnut harvest north of Modesto. Then a pistachio operation in Kings County. Equipment follows the crops. The people follow the equipment. What's left here is the cleanup, sweeping residual hulls back into the rows where they'll decompose over winter. Running the last pickup passes on the final windrows, documenting total yield by block, by variety, by moisture average. The numbers are coming in strong, slightly above the 5-year average. No significant weather loss. Equipment ran clean all season with one major breakdown. A drive belt on the pickup harvester, fixed in under 2 hours by the field mechanic who carries backup parts in a truck that's basically a rolling machine shop. 2 hours in almond harvest, that counts as a clean break. Day 60. The last truck leaves the field at 4:22 in the afternoon. The almond rows stand bare. The soil between the trees is lighter now, pale where the windrows were, compressed where the equipment ran. The trees themselves look reduced, open, as if they've exhaled. This valley harvested over 1 billion pounds of almonds this season, millions of acres, thousands of operators. Hundreds of processing facilities running around the clock for 2 months straight. By December, those almonds will be in packages on shelves in Tokyo, Berlin, São Paulo, and Chicago. The people who shook the trees will be in Arizona, or Texas, or back in this same valley for a different crop. The field is quiet now, until next season. Under this video, there's a subscribe button. It's a small action, but it helps document the work that happens before the shelves are stocked. And if you're drawn to the rhythm of the harvest, to the crews who move with the seasons, subscribing simply means you want to see how America feeds itself. And tell us, where are you watching from? Have you ever worked a harvest? Have you seen one? Share your experience below. That's how these stories travel.